Hello, everybody. I am here today with PJ Hoover, who is visiting us for Encyclomedia up from Austin, right?
Yes, that's right.
And PJ has just published her first book. Tell us about it.
The Emerald Tablet, it actually comes out October 21st, and it's the first book of a trilogy, the Forgotten Worlds books, and it's a middle grade science fiction trilogy aimed at readers 8 to 14.
Okay. And what inspired it?
It's the story of 5 kids who are from a hidden continent under the Pacific Ocean, the continent of Lemuria, and these kids have special powers like telepathy and telekinesis. And really the first inspiration for the book was a TV show I used to watch back in the 80s called The Powers of Matthew Starr. He was an alien kid who basically could pop popcorn with his mind and turn lights on and off, and it was just pretty cool.
Okay, but you probably have known about Lemuria for a long time, though. That's something you must have read about when you were young, right?
Well, everyone's always heard of Atlantis.
Yeah.
And when you start Googling on the computer and doing research about mythological civilizations, lots of stuff comes up. And Lemuria happens to be one that is a sister continent to Atlantis that's under the Pacific Ocean. So.
Okay. But in your book there, the two continents, the two lost continents, are not on the best of terms with each other, are they?
That's right. That's right. They're at an age-old war for about 40,000-year-old war going on. And basically the citizens of Atlantis have almost been enslaved by Lemurians, even though Atlanteans are supposedly the bad guys. So.
Okay. Well, now, if they've been around for a minimum of 40,000 years, how come we haven't found them before?
Well, they're under the ocean in a dome, a dome under the ocean, which is so good at concealing their civilization that they've managed to keep out of the hair of us normal humans.
Okay.
Yep.
Now, what is the tablet of the title?
The Emerald Tablet is actually a real relic, well, a theorized real relic. It's very popular in New Age literature. It's supposed to be the sum of all knowledge, and in my book, it basically is something that tells them that they need to figure out a way to save the world.
Okay, and it is being guarded by a man named Hexer.
That's right.
And he has a special mission. You know, we're talking about this, we haven't even talked about the main character yet, Benjamin Holt.
Benjamin Holt.
And he's not human.
He is not human, that's right.
He looks human.
He does. He's grown up with humans his whole life, except for his family. They're all not humans. They're actually something called telegens. And these are people that are from the continent of Lemuria originally, and they have these special powers of their minds that they're able to read other people's minds and move objects without touching them.
So some of the things that are involved in parapsychology.
Exactly.
What these telegens are able to use. Okay, so Hexer has a special mission for Benjamin, is that right? Well,
Hexer is actually guarding the tablet. It's the tablet that has the special mission for Benjamin, right? And so it tells them, it bonds all 5 kids together, and it tells them that they need to figure out a way to restore the balance of the world and basically save the world.
Okay. Well, one of the things I thought was fun about the book is that it's got everything that kids like. I mean, really, there's a treasure hunt. They're looking for 3 keys. There's a mystery that they have to solve in here. It deals with mythology. You talk at one point about the Greek myths come from where? I mean, where did I say they come from?
Well, actually, it says that all the Greek gods and lots of the gods from other civilizations are actually advanced telegens who at one point tried to dominate the human race.
Okay, so, and then there are elements of science fiction and, of course, a lot of fantasy in there. I think that's great. I mean, did you deliberately draw in as many things as you could, or did these ideas just come as you were writing the story?
I think that's the fun thing about writing is you can take all the things that you're interested in growing up and throw them, and you can create your own book and use all your own creativity and throw it all in there and just really have fun doing it. So.
Okay. Now, did you know where you were going with the story as you started writing? I mean, I would think if you're writing a trilogy, you've got to have an outline. Do you?
There was definitely an outline for the first book when I started writing the first book, and after I finished a draft of that, I jumped into the second book. And after getting through the second book, I was able to go back and make a lot of changes to the first book to try to incorporate some more of the ideas to see where, in fact, I was going. So I didn't have the whole trilogy mapped out totally to the very end when I first started it.
But you had some idea of what you wanted to do with it. Okay. Yeah. Fantasy is really big right now with... I was going to say with kids, but with adults too.
Yes.
I mean, it is the genre of choice right now. Why do you think that is?
I think it's fun for kids to imagine that they are something special, that they might have extra powers, that there are hidden worlds out there, things that they don't know about. It's something that I always enjoyed growing up, is anything unknown, anything unexplained was always interesting to me. And I think that's the same these days.
Okay. Yeah, as I was reading, I thought about the telegens and how so many kids feel like they just don't fit in, you know, that they're odd in some way. And it was nice to see a kid who's not human, but does fit in, you know. And I wondered, how much of that did you have in mind as you were writing the story?
It was kind of that I wanted him to be a normal kid. I mean, someone who had friends. He had normal friends growing up. He didn't have a lot of psychological issues or anything like that, but he did always have these extra powers that he had to hide. So it's like he had his own hidden secrets, even though he did grow up with a pretty normal life.
Okay. One of the striking morals of the story, I thought, comes in a class. I don't remember which class the kids were taking, but the instructor tells them that goodness can be tricked by evil. And I thought that's really a rather profound observation in there. What were you thinking about as you were writing that?
You know, it's you look at this continent where people think they're doing something good. They think by putting the continent of Atlantis under the water and keeping them away from the humans, they think that's a good thing, but it's not always the right answer to the story. So it's kind of, you know, opposite sides of everything. To any situation, there's going to be good or bad going on.
Yeah, and I also like the idea of a family that comes out, I think, in the story, that sometimes biological family is not all there is to family. I mean, was that something that you were thinking about too as you wrote?
Yeah, I think, you know, with today's society, there's so many different kinds of families in the world, and I mean, it's almost more normal to have a non-standard family these days than to have a standard family, and I think that's nice for kids to see that, you know, their protagonists, they can identify with them, they can see that, you know, there's adoptions going on, there's divorce in families a lot of times, and these things happen in the real world.
Yeah, okay. One more question about, because this fascinates me when I talk to people who write for young folks. How do you do it? I mean, how do you know what kids like and what they're thinking about and even how they talk? I mean, how do you do that?
You eavesdrop on your neighbors' teenagers. You have some kids of your own.
Yeah.
There's a big price to pay, but I went ahead and did that. And it is fun. It's fun to see, especially as my kids get older, and to see how they think. And it helps me actually become a better writer to be able to pick them up at school and listen in on conversations and see what these kids are saying to each other and watch, you know, just watch how their minds are thinking, because it's just an amazing thing.
Yeah. Now, have your kids, they've read the book, I assume, have they?
My son's 100 pages in, so
okay,
he's
and he hasn't gotten on you yet for using him as a character in the book.
No, not yet.
No, okay.
I told him I'd dedicate the next book to him, though.
Okay,
so,
that
yeah.
sounds good. Okay, I've been chatting with PJ Hoover, the author of The Emerald Tablet, which is the first in a trilogy.
Yes.
And it's coming out when?
October 21st, 2008.
October 21st, okay. Just in time for the Christmas season.
That's
right. So be sure to pick up a copy, and we'll be looking for Volume 2.
That's right.
All right.
Perfect.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.